How do you show up as your full self and be accepted by other people? I mean, that's really, really hard. And I think Enneagram Eights are the people who struggle the most, not because they're not amazing, but because the rest of us aren't always sure what to do. So I'm Jen Whitmer, and I help teams and leaders solve conflict and personality clashes. And today I am so excited to welcome one of my favorite Enneagram 8 leaders, Nicole Trick Steinbach. And she is an international bravery coach. She has been a global executive leader. She specifically helps women in tech, talk about a male-dominated field, to be their full selves and live bravely and have really the careers that they want to have. She has so much experience. I'm so excited to welcome her on our show today.
Hello! I had to put myself on mute per usual because I always laugh so much when I'm with you. And the part that was like, and accepted by other people, I was like, isn't that what Enneagram 8s are like not caring about so much?
It's true. You don't care. Oh my goodness.
Oh, so fun.
Well, welcome. For those of you who are new and you're like, what is this Enneagram thing you're talking about? So I'm in the middle of a series talking to different leaders about their own self-awareness journey and using the lens of the Enneagram. And the Enneagram is just a personality framework that helps us understand why we do what we do. And they are numbered 1 through 9. So today, Nicole is a proud Enneagram 8 and coming to just share her perspective of what it's like to live as a leader, what it's like to lead as a leader, and now coaching leaders through this lens. So my first really big question for you is, I would love to know what you see as the importance of self-awareness in helping you and the leaders that you have coached develop and become more effective leaders.
Yeah. Oh, self-awareness. In fact, that is all of my morning pages this morning. So I do morning pages every morning, and I do it in a specific format. And I encourage a lot of so one of the things that a lot of people who come to me, all the women and the very few men who feel called in, right, is a lot of times it's their nervous system that's completely out of whack, right? And so when people are able to slow their nervous system, and I know you talk about this a lot, right? Get out of the panic and the overwhelm and the overworking and all the things. When that begins to happen, I really encourage people to either voice message with themselves or to journal with themselves. Because self-awareness is actually the underlying for confidence, I believe.
Say that one more time, because I think that's really important.
Sure. So self-awareness is underlining, it's the foundation for confidence. Right?
Absolutely.
And I really want to pick up, and I'm so excited that you started it this way about being accepted by other people. So I actually have quite a number of people who really don't like me. So I identify, right? I identify with the octopus. Octopus is super cute right here, and I have a lovely ring.
Oh my gosh,
it's the octopus as well, right? And people are like, why the octopus? And I'm like, well, go to an aquarium. People will always respond very strongly to an octopus. There's actually data out there that shows it's either the fastest piece, the fastest exhibit that people like sprint by because it's so repulsive, or it's octopus and shark that people watch the longest.
Oh, wow. Right? I would be the one who watched the octopus the longest. I think they're amazing.
Yes,
like,
me too.
Maybe that's why we get along.
Yes, there's so much. And the reason that I identify with the octopus, right? The reason that there's so many reasons, but one of them is that I'm okay with people not liking me. In fact, who doesn't enjoy me, who doesn't stay in my space is a clear indicator for me of how clear I am, how much I love myself, how aware I am of my strengths and my weaknesses, and how I'm showing up in the world. There are really people you want to dislike you. It's a goal.
Oh my gosh, that is so freeing for so many people. I think I just believe that women are incredibly enculturated. I'm kind of making up that word, but like just continually given the message over and over and over again that we're supposed to be likable. And that means we move, we bend, we do all these different things in order to morph into likability. Now, do I want people to like me? I mean, I'm okay with that. But do I want to do things that are good for them? Way more is what I want, is to do things that are good for people. And sometimes that means they don't like it. So I love that you've brought that up, that this idea that there is a goal. I don't know if I want to say a goal, but like there's an indicator about people not liking you or not. And that's okay.
And, when we're social, I just finished this amazing book and I have to call this woman out. Her name is Jessie Daniels. And I'm bad with names. The only reason I remember her name is because of the story behind her name. Okay.
Oh.
And she just wrote this book. She has a series of research. This is like heavily researched, and it's called Nice White Ladies. And one huge aspect of this book is when we're socialized to be nice, we uphold the systems that are holding us down by gender, by race, by sexual orientation, religious practices, ablement, disablement, right? And so part of, not being liked, being kind rather than nice, being an Enneagram 8, being the challenger, is that we say, you know what? I'm not going to uphold this anymore. I'm not going to be underpaid. So I support women in tech, as you mentioned. It's common for women in tech, women in every industry, actually, to be underpaid, to be underpromoted, so overworked, right? You're doing the work at a higher level. You're working longer hours, and to be freaking miserable, right?
Yeah.
That is not normal.
Well, it's not normal, but it is common.
It's so common.
And we don't, I think both of us work against that. Like we're trying to help people move beyond that. And we do that in such different ways, in some ways because of our personalities. And so I think you're starting to touch on kind of my next question, which is, what do you think the significant gift of an Enneagram 8 is that you bring not only just to the world, but specifically as a leader, as helping leaders? Like, what's that gift that you bring?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I am going to quote an ongoing mentor, someone I consider a friend. He was my manager. He is still in the corporate space. His name is Peter Roberts. And he told me in 2008, maybe 2009, he said, Nicole, you're dangerous when you're bored.
You're dangerous when you're bored.
You're dangerous when you're bored. What we bring is the desire, the innate. It's almost like when Frodo takes the ring back to Mordor. Do you know what I mean? Like we are called to, and we answer the call for radical transformation.
Yeah.
And radical does not mean extreme. The root of the word radical, and I learned this from Vonda Page, is the root. Radical is the root. So the challenger, especially when we're self-aware, when we invest in ourselves with therapy and coaching and development and taking risks, etc., we are not going to say, hey, this system isn't working, right? This is the system. We're going to tinker with this. No, we're going to go, wait a second. The nerves down here aren't working. We're not going to get this finger to work when all the nerves aren't working, right? We're going to reach for this. And when we are in balance, right? When we're empowered, when we're in that positive trend of the 8, we can't help but bring people along with us.
It's so true. You're just like, you're coming with me. Here we go.
Yeah. And the really good, like the ones who are really into it, and I'm thinking of a couple of women in technology, right? The ones who are really into their 8s and really into radical transformation, they, by being empowered, they empower other people to be like, oh, let's go.
Yeah.
Right? And the other thing that I think is really awesome about eights when we are in our power is we want to be surpassed. We want people to go faster than us. We want people to pass us up, right? Like when I hired a woman, Angie Young, I hired her as an intern and then entry level in like 2011 or something, 2012. And she has like hyper surpassed me in career. And I'm like, yes, right?
Yes.
And that is what makes us so glorious to have one or two of us in your project or in your program, in your space. Just want to make sure you don't have too many of us.
Well, I love what you're saying about, you keep coming back to when we're in balance, when we're self-aware. I think that's such an important part of how every personality type needs to show up in the world. Because when we get too caught up in our number, we get too caught up in our personality structure, our fears get in and we start protecting in ways that are unhelpful to ourselves and others. And so I love how you're describing when we're in balance, eights are all like, I'm doing this setup so you can run. Like, so we can make it fair and protect everybody so everybody's safe. And that's such a core thing for an Enneagram 8. I want you to tell the story. You told me one time about how you communicate that to people, about being a challenger. So like, they just need to know, here's what I'm going to do. And then they become more comfortable. So tell me a little bit about how you do that when you come into a space.
I'm not exactly sure which of the many stories, but I can tell another one because it's like, So one of the things about me on this skill level is that I'm a master facilitator. I have over 10,000 hours of registered facilitation. So facilitation of a couple of thousand virtually, right? Which is super fun. I've done 100,000 or 200,000 plus internal meetings that I was facilitating. There was lots of breakout groups, nobody freak out. And all the way to like 8 board members of a Fortune 100 company. Okay. And one of the things that I have learned for me and my style is to literally tell people, you're going to be really uncomfortable.
Yes.
I'm going to ask you the really bizarre question. You're not going to like me. You're going to think I'm crazy. You're going to figure out like, okay, she's in between me and the door and I feel really gross and disgusted and I don't want to answer this question and my coffee's empty and I have to go to the restroom. Right? And that's okay. That's okay.
What I love about that is that Brene Brown always says clear is kind. And so the ability to say, here is how you are likely going to feel around me. And the gift that is X, Y, and Z. And we call that, in self-awareness work, it's self-disclosure. It's like letting other people see what they might not see yet. And that really establishes, it's a boundary in some ways, but it's also a kindness. Like, hey, here's what's coming. And here's why this is important for you and for me in our work together. I just think that's so incredibly valuable. Love it.
So important. It's so, and also for me. So if I walk into a space and someone says, hey, I am super gentle. Okay. So I'm going to offer you, I'm going to invite you, but it's up to you to walk into that space. I'm like, oh, I need to leave space for other people because I'm an extreme extrovert and I love people and I have a lot to say. Okay, Nicole. Right? So it's like, it's so supportive for other people. Right?
I love that. Yeah. And that leads me into my next question, actually, which is, what do you think is one of the challenges that you have as an Enneagram 8 who leads? And how do you manage that? Like, what do you do to make that happen? I know, exactly. We only have 5 more minutes. But so like, just as you just described, you're like, oh, this lets me say, here's how I need to show up in this space in order to be effective, which might be different than what my normal space is. So how do you manage that?
It's a full circle. Ready? Self-love. Self-love.
Say more.
Yeah. So, and the courage to apologize.
Oh, really similar.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I'm thinking right now, I'm really thinking about a consulting implementation. So the vast majority of my time and after January 31st will be completely coaching women in attack, right? There's a couple of personal reasons for that, but there's a lot of passion in challenging the system around that. And right, I took up too much space in a workshop that was not mine, right? And it was realizing it afterwards. So because of the depth of experience I have, I was a global senior director. I've worked in over 25 countries. I've been in tech for over 20 years as a non-tech person, right? Massive transformational projects, and from mergers and acquisitions all the way to restructuring the entire salary band and job band of a company with over 100,000 people, right? So I have a lot of experience.
Yes.
And I'm inside this workshop and I'm there as a participant. And it's for a relatively small financial organization. Well, I have the answers. I have the experience. Here they are. But that's not where they are. And when I realized what I had done, everyone was so gracious. And they, afterwards I had a conversation. Person was like, I know that you're right. And before we can get here, before we can have a rainbow, we have to build yellow and then orange and all the Roy G. Bibbs, right? That's a lot of effort, but thank you so much. They were so grateful for this vision, for this future thing, but I didn't really help them. Right. And so I had to go into my self-awareness. I did a lot of morning pages. Right. And then I went on an apology tour. Right. No, there's nothing to apologize. I'm like, no, there is. There is. And I love myself enough that I can love you and I can apologize.
I just adore that. The idea that I think we get so caught up in that mistakes aren't allowed. We can't make a mistake or, fill in the blank of your greatest fear. But really, we do have the capacity to make amends when things are crooked or broken or off kilter, whichever word you want to put in there. And an apology for a genuine behavior, a genuine apology for a behavior repairs that. We have this ability to start that and rebuild trust. I just think that's really, really powerful. And I love that you brought that up.
And one of the things that I learned in 2021, I did this very deep healing coaching program. And one of the things I learned is I cannot apologize until I believe my apology to me. Right? I have to believe, forgive, not release, don't forget. But until I do that, I cannot truly amend, make reparations.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and that comes back to what you said at the beginning. We talked about self-awareness. Here's what I need to know about me. And some people get caught up in you just need to focus on other people. But I don't know where I connect if I don't know where I am in space.
Yes.
And so I have to know where I am. And I love the idea, and I do this all the time actually, of leaving voice notes for yourself, because sometimes I don't know what I think until I say it out loud. So I leave voice notes for myself all the time. And so if you are new to the concept of morning pages, everybody does it differently, but often it is just writing for 3 pages, whatever comes out of your brain. Sometimes there's prompts. There's all kinds of different ways to do it. But all of those things get you in touch with where I am in space, and then I can connect to you. Because I can't connect to something that I don't know where it is. And that's just really powerful. So I have one more question that we really don't have time for, but I'm dying to know.
Please.
What frustrates you the most about being a woman in a male-dominated space and as an Enneagram 8? And how do you manage that?
Oh, I'm going to make a lot of people angry. That was the warning. That was the self-disclosure.
There you go.
What makes me most angry are white women who hold up the systems of power that keep everyone underpaid, overworked.
Yeah.
Right? Being close ladies. I speak to my people. Being next to power is not power. And you can look at a million examples right now in tech. You can look at the salary bands that were just published for Microsoft. You can look at founders who are white women who held up systems of power. It will turn on you. The system of power will turn on you. Stop holding it up. It is not normal. It is common. And because we are so close to the system of power, we have the most ability to shift it from within. That is what frustrates me the most right now. And I have been very guilty of this. Self-awareness, forgiveness, etc. Yeah. Right? That's what frustrates me the most.
What is that book? Oh my gosh, I'm going to forget the name of it. It's on my shelf, and it's a white book, and it's got red letters, and there's a little white woman at the bottom.
Nice White Ladies.
Yes, Nice White Ladies.
Yeah.
I've started it, and I have it. It's like on my shelf. Yes. But it talks
finish it.
Oh, it's such a hard book. You're like, oh, okay, I need this. I need this. And it's really good. Really good.
So just to give everyone an idea of how much we need this, it takes me usually 4 days to read a book because I'm just a super fast reader, right? However, this one took me 4 weeks. Because often I'm like slamming it shut and I'm like,
yeah, I was like, oh, I'm not prepared for this. Like, I need to sit with this. No, I just meant like in that exact moment that I picked up the book, I was like, oh, this is not as you said, this is not something I'm going to skim through. I need to sit with this. This needs to be chewed upon a little bit.
It's a gift, right?
Yes. Yeah. Well, I can't believe we're just out of time. I wish that we could just keep going. I know it's always so fast. It's so fast. I am so grateful that you were here today. I would love anybody who has any interest in following somebody who is encouraging and a cheerleader and tells you the truth. You need to follow and connect with Nicole on LinkedIn. Where are other places that people can find you, and what can we do to support you?
Yeah. Okay. So, actually, I'm doing something super scary and super brave. I have a course. It's proven. I've been doing it in different forms for about 15 years. It's the Build Your Brave course. And I charge thousands and thousands of dollars to tech companies to do this. I'm doing it for free one time. It starts Monday. I am super skited. I'm scared and excited.
That's right.
So if you're into
nervous. So yeah, totally.
Yes. Yeah. So if that really speaks to you, it's open up to all industries. There's about 52 women from all over the world who are joining in. It's a 1 week course. You need to carve out about 60 to 90 minutes every day. Come on over. You'll actually get live coaching from me, which is super exciting. So that is one offer that I'm doing. The other thing is I love LinkedIn. I'm having fun on Instagram, but my passion project is my podcast. It's called Celebrate Brave. And to quote a listener and deep friend who I don't get the chance to talk to very much because of time zones, we were talking in the new year, and she said, you know, the best part of your podcast is that you can be bossy to me on demand. Awesome. Okay. Unexpected, but I'm in.
I do love your podcast. I have to say, I also love your emails. So I don't read every email subscription that I get because there's just so much. And I love so many people, and I don't always get to read them all, but I always pause to read yours. So they're always very good. I just wanted to share that with you, friend.
I am tearing up. Thank you. That means a lot. That really means a lot. Thank you.
I'm so glad. I always want to put value in people's inboxes. I don't want to email people things that don't help them. And I can tell that that is also what you want as well. So, well, friends, we have to close it up. If you've got more questions, please feel free to drop them in the comments. We will come back and answer. And I am just thrilled that you were here today, Nicole. Thank you so much. Check her out. Go to this course. I'm super excited about it. And also, if you are interested in learning more about the Enneagram and how does it fit as a personality tool, I have a resource for you called Leadership Layers. And it goes through
Yes.
Myers-Briggs and StrengthsFinders and the Enneagram, and how does that all fit to make you the unique leader that you are? So there is a link in the description wherever you're watching on your phone somewhere. It's there. It's a link. Or you can go to jenwhitmer.com, get leadership layers, and you will find it.
And get it. Get it. I have sent it to executive leaders and they've written back and been like, what? Get it.
I'm so excited.
Get it.
Thank you. And then later in the month, the Catalyst Leadership Lab opens. Waitlist is open right now, so you can, that's going to be coming. So that's just your little teaser, everybody. Have a great Thursday, Nicole. Thank you so much for being here. Everybody, have a great day. Bye.